everyone, it's me, Ella. Hello. It's been a little while since I made my last, video essay type video. So I figured, why not make another one? I have something I'd like to talk about. I had actually already made a sort of beta version of this video, I just never uploaded it because I didn't think it was that great. But conversations with my good friend Emerald Amudo made me want to make it into an actual video. And by the way, you could always go subscribe to his channel. I'm in some of the videos he makes. I've even co-written some of those videos. But anyway, the two of us were discussing Yu-Gi-Oh! On Discord, something that only the coolest of people do. And we were discussing the merits of the subs versus the dubs. Neither of us were arguing if the sub or the dub is the better version because we both happen to enjoy both versions. The sub is the original language that it was meant to be told in, and obviously closer to the original intent of the story. But no matter how many seemingly pointless changes 4Kids made to the original story, I can't help but love the dub anyway. It's just what I grew up with. I enjoy how cheesy it is. I enjoy how funny, intentionally or unintentionally, it can be. Also, I will defend the dub voice cast with my life. It is their emotion, it is their conviction, it is their dedication to playing these characters and playing them well that makes this show work. But listen, let me just put this out there at the start of the video so there is no misconception. I am not claiming that one of these versions is objectively inferior or superior to the other. I am not a dub supremacist. I am not a sub supremacist. If you like watching the dubs more, that's great. If you like watching the subs more, that's also great. I don't think enjoyment should be a competition. I don't think you need to argue over who is enjoying it more, or who is enjoying the better version, or who's enjoying it the right way. Now, with that said, I would like to discuss part of the story arc of Season 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh! That is exclusive to the 4Kids dub. I wouldn't go as far as to say that the plot point wasn't there in the sub. It was. It was just handled and written differently than the way 4Kids decided to deal with it. I'll try my best to point out those differences as I explain, but keep in mind, of course, which one of these two versions of the show that I am obviously more familiar with. If I'm misunderstanding something or just plain wrong about something, then feel free to point it out in the comments, in a civilized fashion, of course. So, let's quickly summarize the premise of Season 1. Despite the insane haircut, Yugi starts out this show as a pretty average, meek kid. His friend group consists of a nice girl named Taya, or Anzu, and two of his former bullies, Joey, or Janochi, and Tristan, or Honda. Yugi has a natural aptitude and enjoyment for games, which makes sense because he lives in a game shop owned by his grandfather. Now here comes one of the differences. It's a minor thing, but it'll become a bit more important later. In the sub, it's shown that Yugi doesn't just live with his grandfather, his mother also lives there. But in the dub, his mom just doesn't really exist. So, for all intents and purposes, Yugi's only real family in the dub is his grandpa. His grandpa is the one who gifted him the Millennium Puzzle, a mysterious Egyptian artifact and one of the 7 Millennium items. And ever since Yugi solved it, some strange things have been happening to him. I'm not going to go into the events of things like Season 0 or the earlier events of the manga, because neither of those are really canon to the anime. But what we know is canon to this show is that Yugi had experienced at least one memory gap when taken over by the spirit of the puzzle. Taya was being threatened by a mugger. Yugi tried to come in and save her, but got knocked out. The spirit of the puzzle took over and saved the day. Yugi remembers that he quote-unquote saved Taya, but he doesn't remember how. The big thing I want you to take away from this is that Yugi is not aware of the spirit of the puzzle yet, nor is he aware of the power of his Millennium item. And since he doesn't remember mind-crushing this guy, I think it's safe to assume he probably doesn't remember mind-crushing Kaiba either. He just remembers that he dueled him and he won. To Yugi's knowledge, his first experience with the power of a Millennium item is Pegasus. So, what does Pegasus do with his Millennium item? Easy. He challenges a small child to a shadow game in which both of their lives are at risk and steals his grandfather's soul with it. So, yeah, not the best first impression. But hey, Yugi's an optimistic kid. Let's say he gives it the benefit of the doubt. The next wielder of a Millennium item that he meets is Bakura. Bakura's his classmate. Bakura's not a bad kid. In fact, him and Yugi, personality-wise, are fairly similar. He wouldn't use his Millennium item for evil, would he?
Bakura! What have you done? Why have you taken us to the Shadow Realm?
Bakura's no longer here.
If you're not Bakura, then who are you?
I am a thief and a stealer of souls.
Ladies, gentlemen, and non-binaries, meet Yami or Thief King Bakura, the spirit of the Millennium Ring. Unlike our usual Bakura, Yami Bakura is just straight up evil. He traps the souls of Yugi and his friends into their favorite cards. He also challenges the spirit of the Millennium Puzzle to another shadow game. And if he loses, all of their souls will be lost to the shadows forever. It is in this episode where a divergence between the sub and the dub creates the beginning of the plot point that I am making this video about. Because it is this episode where for the first time, the two Yugis officially meet. In the sub, it's made clear that Yugi has been aware of his other self for some time. It's more of a reveal to his friends than to himself. But that's not the case in the dub. In the dub, Yugi's confused.
But just 1 second ago, I was up there.
Yeah, if you're down here, who's that up there?
I don't know.
Don't you?
Well, I have noticed that sometimes when I duel, it feels as if someone is guiding me. And sometimes it's like I can hear a strong voice calling out to me from my Millennium Puzzle. An ancient, powerful voice.
Huh? Really?
I'm not sure what it's all about, guys, but I'm pretty sure we can trust him, whoever he is.
The choice to have Yugi's thoughts while dueling still sound like his usual self as opposed to the spirit is on purpose. I don't know if this is the original intent, but this is how I always interpreted it. On his own, Yugi knows how to play duel monsters. He knows how to strategize and how to win. The things that Yugi lacks are a bit of wisdom and a lot of confidence. This is what the spirit of the puzzle provides. When the two merge together when they duel, the spirit is the one you see and hear. That's because in a duel, the mentality of your opponent is half the battle. The spirit looks and sounds more intense, more intimidating, more confident, more level-headed, and more fierce. But within their mind, it's Yugi's voice that is the dominant one, not the spirit's, because the two of them are drawing from his knowledge and his strategies in order to win. The spirit just nudges him in the right direction. Until this point, Yugi had been a part of this process unknowingly. It's this duel where Yugi decides for himself, consciously, to trust in the spirit of the puzzle. And for a while, it works out pretty great. They defeat Bakura and a slew of other opponents that they come up against until they finally make it to Pegasus's castle. Once they get there, Kaiba challenges Yugi to their infamous rooftop duel. And for those who are unaware, I'll show you how that ends.
If I defeat one of the weaker Blue Eyes, I win, but what if the duel battle accidentally knocks him off the ledge?
Surrender, Yugi. That is, unless you have the courage to unleash your attack.
I must.
I can't.
We must.
No, it's not right.
Yugi!
There must be another way.
There isn't. Kaiba, I've never backed away, and I'm not starting now! Celtic Guardian, attack!
Yugi, you can't!
She's right. We can't do this. Stop!
Now this is where a bunch of the stuff I talked about comes together. Put yourself in Yugi's shoes for a moment. You have a mysterious Millennium item. You've met a grand total of 2 other people who wield similar items to yours. The first item is used by a madman to toy with you, to steal the soul of your grandfather, who, remember, in this version of events, is the only family Yugi has. The second is owned by another kid who's a lot like you. His item also contains a spirit. That spirit is malevolent. And now, the similar spirit in your item, who you have just recently discovered even exists, has proven that he is willing to disregard your wishes, overpower your will, and go as far as murder to win. Yugi has to wrench control of his body back from the spirit in order to save Kaiba in time. I am not attempting to downplay the importance this moment has in the sub as well as the dub, because the result is the same in both. Yugi is terrified, and until Taya boosts his spirits, he refuses to duel again. But in the sub, he still has another family member, his mother, left to go back to. In the sub, Yugi knew about the spirit of the puzzle longer than he knew about him in the dub. And in the sub, this is resolved more quickly than in the dub. In the sub, he's back to dueling with the complete cooperation of the spirit again when he duels Mai. They're dueling worse than usual, but that's because of a mutual fear of Pegasus. The two of them are so focused on trying to get to Pegasus, the bigger threat, that they underestimate Mai. But with help from Mai and with support from his friends, he's able to get over it and win. The dub takes this duel in a different direction. Neither Yugi nor the spirit of the puzzle are underestimating Mai. In fact, they're happy that they get to have an honorable duel with her. They want to see what it's like when she's fighting fair. But Yugi is still shaken by what the spirit was willing to do in that battle with Kaiba. The spirit of Yugi's grandfather reached out to him and told him to trust in the power of the Millennium Puzzle. So Yugi goes far enough with the merge in order to allow his appearance and voice to change into that of the spirit again. But the confidence and wisdom that the spirit usually shares with Yugi is being repressed and ignored. That is why Yugi is slipping, because his attention is divided between dueling and repressing the spirit of the puzzle. He also wants the duel to go by quickly so that the spirit doesn't have an opportunity to hurt Mai. Speaking of whom, Mai has gone through a bit of self-discovery herself. She realized that cheating in duels was just her way of not facing up to the fact that she wasn't confident in her own abilities, but now she's come out the other side and is a more capable duelist for it. She's seeing Yugi go through something similar, a crisis of confidence. She doesn't know why, of course, because she isn't aware of all the Millennium items and ancient Egyptian nonsense. She just thinks it's because he lost the duel to Kaiba. So she calls him out, and her words reach Yugi. Because, like Mai, Yugi is afraid of confronting something within himself. With Mai, she had to confront her insecurity. With Yugi, he has to confront the spirit of the puzzle. And he does.
No matter how badly I need to rescue Grandpa, hurting someone else is something I will not do.
I meant no harm. I only wanted to help, and I vow never to go against your wishes again.
How can I believe you?
Your grandfather once urged you to trust in the power of the Millennium Item, remember?
Maybe you're right.
Then, we get a glimpse into how the spirit feels about all this. Yugi's refusal to trust him has made him question himself and his motives.
There's too much writing on the draw of this next card. I shouldn't be risking Yugi's friends and family this way. It's too dangerous. I can't.
We can do it, together.
Yugi?
With their bond restored, the two of them come out the other side as a complete duelist again and win against Mai. Later on, with Pegasus, it all comes full circle. It's the power of the Millennium Item, their mind shuffle, that gives them the advantage, and it's the bond that they share that allows them to win. Again, maybe the result between the sub and the dub is the same, but the way they got there was different. And maybe it's because of how much I'm subjecting this to my own interpretation, but I really like what the dub did here. This isn't a bad change. People often remember 4Kids for the more ridiculous changes they made, like the jelly-filled donuts, or the insane lengths they went to prevent shows from discussing violence or death. But the way 4Kids handled this, I actually like more than how they handled it in the sub. And again, this isn't me trying to say, oh, the sub is worse. No, it isn't. The sub is incredible. Watch it. I just wanted to talk about this and share my views on it with all of you. So, yeah. Thanks for watching.